Strawny at the Brownlow at last, eh? Yeah, sit down.
I have to say, Strawny, you are looking ravishing as usual.
Yeah, 3 votes for that one, Sandra. That's a top call, that one. And ladies and gentlemen, Sandra Sully, how good does Sandra look? Ladies and gentlemen, yeah.
Thank you, Strawny.
Young Char, I tell you, I think I just copped the news flash. That's fantastic. That's great.
Cheeky as always. Now, I have to say, we were actually meant to be on a date, yet down on the brown carpet, there you were, sidling up to all the players' girlfriends. What was that about?
I take exception to that. I was not just cracking on to the girlfriends, I was also cracking on to the wives, okay? I even cracked on to the pregnant ones so they wouldn't feel bad. So, Strawny does not discriminate, okay? I'll crack onto anyone, yeah.
I do seriously have a bone to pick with you, though. You promised me you'd call.
Yeah, and I did call many times, Sandra, so... You know,
well, when there I was all week, home alone, waiting by the phone, no call.
Well, I did call. I'm not sure where you got your phone. Aurora Stadium. Move on. Get over it.
Well, it's good to see you've lifted your game, I have to say, adhering to the AFL strict code.
Yeah.
Black tie and all.
Black tie. I think this represents where I'm from. A hint of Asia, with a bit of Horsham pizzazz. So I wore this to my deb, actually. That's got a bit of soy sauce on that. She'll come. My mum knows a good dry cleaner, so she'll be good.
The room is full of legends and stars of the AFL. Apart from yourself, of course.
Apart from myself.
One of the most controversial this year has been Jason Ackermanis. Jason's with us tonight. Good evening, Jason. You're here with your lovely wife, Megan. You're a controversial star, Strawny.
Yeah, I am.
Have you had much to do with ACCA this year?
Yeah, I have, actually. I actually ran ACCA's website early this year. That went well. And listen, I speak to ACCA every now and then. I'm a bit of a mentor, and I know why him and Lee Matthews don't get along. ACCA is a proud man, and he wants the big prize at Brisbane, but Lee Matthews will not give him the big prize.
Obviously, you mean the captaincy.
No, the Divine Homes commercial. Lee wants it. Lee's keeping it, and he's not giving it. That's why he's retiring from Brisbane. Fact. There's your headline tomorrow, Herald Sun.
Now, at least Ackers has nominated his preferred club for 2007, but what about Strawny?
Yeah, tough one. I've narrowed it down to 2, Boutique and the Beach. Taz usually gets my name at the door at both of them, so I just walk right in, so it's pretty good.
Brian, we're talking football clubs, not nightclubs.
Okay. Listen, if Collingwood want to get rid of me, and that's up to Mick, listen, probably the first 2 draft picks, Carlton and Essendon. I mean, that's probably where you're looking, and I like the idea of going to Carlton because I get the impression that they don't train very often.
That's very harsh.
And listen, Essendon, I had a very lengthy, lovely dinner actually last night with Sheeds at Smorgies, and we had a lovely. He spoke to me for 3.5 hours.
3.5 hours. What did he say?
I have no idea what that bloke said. No idea.
Strawny, I think it's time to move on.
Okay. Just a bit of housekeeping for those who drove tonight. You might want to get a cab home. Michael Gardner's on valet parking duty, okay? So just be careful.
Thank you, Strawny. Of course, it's time for the 2006 Brownlow Medal Count. To begin, please make him feel welcome. Your host tonight from Network 10, Stephen Quartermain.
Thank you, Strawny, and thank you to Sandra. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the 10 Network and the AFL, welcome to Crown for the 2006 Brownlow Medal. We've already seen plenty of contested possessions, loose ball gets, free kicks and clangers on the red carpet. Now it's down to the serious business to find out who is the best and fairest winner in the AFL for season 2006. Tonight, we shall hear from some of the medalists from yesteryear as they relate some of the more unusual Brownlow stories of their experiences on this great night. We'll also pay tribute to 2 Brownlow medal champs a decade on, and at the same time, perhaps welcome 2 potential stars of the future. Tonight, the West Coast Eagles are looking for a hat-trick. In 2004, the Brownlow belonged to Chris Judd. Last year, it was Ben Cousins. And those 2 men are again among the hot favourites tonight as we welcome the Eagles to the telecast from the Burswood Casino in Perth. Sydney Swan Adam Goods has also won a Brownlow medal back in 2003. He is the outright favourite to collect another one tonight. Hello, Adam. Adelaide Crow Simon Goodwin is also an enormous chance. What a consistent 2006 he has had. Or will it finally be the moment for Western Bulldogs Scott West? He has finished in the top four times. The 31-year-old is the sentimental favourite and also a big favourite in the room tonight. But his teammate, Brad Johnson, must also be a huge chance. The All-Australian captain has had a sensational season. Others in the betting include St Kilda pair Nick Revolt and Nick Del Santo. Fremantle docker Matthew Pavlich, already a four-time All-Australian at the age of just 24, and Melbourne's Cameron Bruce and Travis Johnston are also expected to poll well. So good luck to all those in the running tonight for the Brownlow medal. Also, best of luck to the two teams competing on Saturday in the grand final. Congratulations to the reigning champs, the Sydney Swans. Tonight they are at a function at the Sydney Hilton. So good luck to Paul Roos and his men. Can the Bloods make it back-to-back? Or will John Worsfold and his West Coast Eagles exact revenge for last year? The Eagles have not won a premiership since 1994. Is this their year? Good luck to the Swans and to the Eagles. Yes, indeed. A big thank you tonight to our hosts' Crown, in particular to Joe Stuckey and Anne Peacock, and also a special thanks to Danielle Bleasby from the AFL for her assistance. As always, the votes for the Brownlow medal are kept under lock and key. A short time ago they were brought into the room by Armour Guard, and all the envelopes containing the votes have been accounted for by the auditors of the AFL, KPMG. Now, to officially kick off proceedings, please put your hands together for the Chief Executive Officer of the AFL, Andrew Demetriou.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is a night of great tradition, a night in which we celebrate the fairest and best player of the Toyota AFL 2006 Premiership season, the Brownlow medalist. Tonight's count is the 79th since the league struck the medal to honour the memory of former player, one-season coach and legendary administrator Charles Brownlow following his death in 1924. The first medal was won by Geelong midfielder Edward Kaji Greaves, and from that moment it has been clear that only the best players win the Brownlow medal. Some of the greats of the game are Brownlow medalists. Former greats like Dick Reynolds, Hayden Bunton, Bob Skilton and Ian Stewart. And current champions include James Hird, Michael Voss, Robert Harvey, Nathan Buckley, Adam Goods, Chris Judd and of course last year's winner, Ben Cousins. To win the Brownlow is to join a select group of just 76 players to have won. Tonight many of those winners are here in this room. We welcome you, we honour you. As I said in the beginning, this is a night of great tradition. And a timeless tradition has been the official oration of the chairman of the meeting to open the count as follows. Tonight's gathering is a properly constituted meeting of the AFL with many of our AFL commissioners present. In accordance with AFL Rule 19, at the conclusion of each match, the three field umpires conferred and recorded their idea of the three fairest and best players in each of the 176 home and away matches played this season. The votes were then sealed in an envelope marked Brownlow medal. In the case of two or more players receiving an equal number of votes, each shall be declared the joint winner, and each of these players shall be awarded a Brownlow medal. Notwithstanding that a player has been found guilty of a reportable offence in a home and away match in which Brownlow medal votes have been cast, the player shall remain eligible to receive the Brownlow medal if the sanction for the reportable offence is a financial sanction only, or based demerit points allocated for the reportable offence are less than 100 points. Joining me on my table are the General Manager Football Operations Adrian Anderson, Project Manager Dean Moore, Jill Lindsay, our Ground Operations Manager, and Rod Austin, the Football Administration Manager. Please enjoy the evening as we celebrate the fairest and best player of 2006.
Thank you, Andrew. Time now to welcome my Network 10 co-commentators, Tim Lane and Anthony Hudson, who will be taking us through all the action live, round by round. Guys, you've been pouring through truckloads of statistics. Who's going to win?
Well, Quarters, I'm going for Scotty West. Of course, as you said, he's finished top 4 times. It was the year that John Wood won a Logie, so I'll go for Scotty West in a close one.
And I'm on the Goodwin Goods Quinella. Quarters, go you good things.
Thanks to Tim and Anthony. Time now to get into it. Round 1. Now, the Brownlow medal has provided plenty of special and unusual moments. As we go through each round of voting, we will honour some of our past greats. And we start with triple Brownlow medalist Bob Skilton. And he explains that back in 1959, when he won his first, well, it wasn't a very glamorous affair.
After getting off the train from night school, walking down Graham Street didn't seem any different. And it wasn't until I turned into our little crescent, and there were more cars than ever, and there were people in the streets, and when people started to say congratulations and such, I wondered what they were talking about. And when they were saying, I'd won the Brownlow, it was a moment of disbelief, really.
It seems a long while ago, Tim, but 2-star new captains got us underway at Subi.
And a former skipper was still putting his body on the line and sometimes over it.
But it was Dean Cox and the Eagles who dominated. He collected 26 possessions and kicked a couple of goals.
At the Dome, Barry Hall kicked 7 and new Bomber skipper Matthew Lloyd 8 as the Dons downed the Premiers. Normal transmission would soon be resumed.
A popular pick tonight, Scotty West had 33 touches as the Dogs demolished the Tigers in a record win.
Well, the Crows took their first step on a cold Monday night. Mark Rasciuto running hot in round 1.
Round 1, West Coast versus St Kilda. St Kilda, R. Harvey, 1 vote. West Coast, D. Cox, 2 votes. West Coast, D. Kerr, 3 votes. Western Bulldogs versus Richmond. Western Bulldogs, B. Johnson, 1 vote. Western Bulldogs, D. Gian Siracusa, 2 votes. Western Bulldogs, S. West, 3 votes. Geelong versus Brisbane. Geelong, J. Bartel, 1 vote. Geelong, J. Corey, 2 votes. Geelong, P. Chapman, 3 votes. Essendon versus Sydney. Sydney, B. Hall, 1 vote. Essendon, S. Lucas, 2 votes. Essendon, M. Lloyd, 3 votes. Port Adelaide versus Kangaroos. Kangaroos, B. Harvey, 1 vote. Port Adelaide, K. Corns, 2 votes. Kangaroos, A. Simpson, 3 votes. Hawthorn versus Fremantle. Hawthorn, B. Dixon, 1 vote. Hawthorn, C. Bateman, 2 votes. Hawthorn, M. Williams, 3 votes. Melbourne versus Carlton. Carlton, J. Waite, 1 vote. Carlton, H. Scotland, 2 votes. Carlton, N. Stevens, 3 votes. Collingwood versus Adelaide. Collingwood, D. Swan, 1 vote. Adelaide, M. Matner, 2 votes. Adelaide, M. Rasciuto, 3 votes.
Played in a few good games, in a great side, and, the Lee Matthews, the Peter Knights, all the great names, Buckenara, Dunstall, Brereton, they've never won a Brownlow.
Kent Kingsley kicked a career-best 8 goals in round 2. The Cats were flag favourites. Hutto, those were the days.
They were. A match against Essendon was all Jonathan Brown needed to find some form. No one could stop him taking 17 marks.
The Demons had started badly and the tension showed. Some fought their opponents. Others, like Colin Sylvia and Ryan Ferguson, belted the daylights out of each other.
Cox was again the key for the Eagles, helping 10 of his teammates have 20 possessions or more against the Crows. They were still fine-tuning for a stellar season that would be ahead.
And Anthony Rocker had visions of such a season as he kicked 8 for Collingwood. It was a learning experience for young Hawk defender Zach Dawson, left on the Big Magpie by Coach Clarkson in round 2.
Round 2, Richmond versus St Kilda. Richmond, T. Simmons, 1 vote. Richmond, J. Bowden, 2 votes. St Kilda, Al Hayes, 3 votes. Geelong versus Kangaroos. Geelong, M. Egan, 1 vote. Geelong, K. Kingsley, 2 votes. Geelong, J. Corey, 3 votes. Western Bulldogs versus Melbourne. Western Bulldogs, S. West, 1 vote. Western Bulldogs, B. Johnson, 2 votes. Western Bulldogs, R. Murphy, 3 votes. Brisbane Lions versus Essendon. Brisbane, S. Black, 1 vote. Brisbane L. Power, 2 votes. Brisbane J. Brown, 3 votes. Fremantle versus Carlton. Fremantle S. McManus, 1 vote. Carlton B. Favola, 2 votes. Fremantle J. Carr, 3 votes. Sydney versus Port Adelaide. Port Adelaide B. Lade, 1 vote. Port Adelaide C. Corns, 2 votes. Port Adelaide P. Burgoyne, 3 votes. Hawthorn versus Collingwood. Collingwood G. Richards, 1 vote. Collingwood B. Johnson, 2 votes. Collingwood A. Rocker, 3 votes. Adelaide versus West Coast. Adelaide S. Goodwin, 1 vote. West Coast A. Embley, 2 votes. West Coast D. Cox, 3 votes.
So we are off and running in the Brownlow medal for 2006. The leader after 2 rounds is Geelong's Joel Corey.
Good evening everyone at home, and Rob, our job tonight is to try and predict who might be the 2006 Brownlow medalist, and we've got the help of the Ten computer, and this is how it's going to work. Firstly, let's have a look at Simon Goodwin's scorecard. At the top, in black, you can see the predicted. That's what our computer predicts Simon Goodwin will poll tonight. He's ranked 3rd, 20 votes. That's where he is currently, so he's above expectation after the first 2 rounds. The green V represents the votes in which he might poll in later in the evening. Of course, if he doesn't play, you'll see a black cross. So Simon Goodwin, 3rd favourite, getting away to a reasonable start.
And Scotty West, the popular player from the Western Bulldogs, the Ten computer has predicted that Scotty West will win the Brownlow. He's ranked 1st, and he's off to a really flying start there with 4 votes after round 2.
Well, there's just 5 days until that one day in September, and we'll be covering it all on Network 10.
It's the biggest day on the football calendar, and there's only one place you'll see it all from start to finish, and that's here on your home of the AFL Final Series, Network 10. Kick the day off with the festivities at the official Grand Final breakfast. From there, we're off to the G to soak up the atmosphere. Review the year with the game's biggest names. Preview the big one, and then, with the stage set, the 2006 AFL Grand Final, here on your Premiership Network.
Catch up with all the latest stories Tuesday on 10.
Oh, this guy, he's... Whoa.
New Wedge at 8:30.
Then at 9 o'clock.
I don't think I'm exaggerating when I say this is the most amazing event in the entire history of humankind.
We finally track down the missing musical by Shakespeare.
Who hath farted?
Farts are very funny.
Real stories following the Wedge from 8:30 Tuesday.
Stop hair loss now. Our safe and medically proven technique can help you to regain a full set of hair in less than 12 months. Your new growth will be stronger, more vigorous and look totally natural. You'll feel terrific and look years younger. Call now for this comprehensive guide that gives you all the facts on how to beat baldness and restore your hair.
You'll learn why hair loss makes you look older than you really are, how our advanced technique harvests hair and transplants it in better condition, and how we can offer a natural and permanent solution to hair loss. Dr. Barry White has led the way in hair loss treatments for more than 20 years. This breakthrough hair transplant treatment has helped thousands beat baldness, and the National Hair Institute can help you too.
Call the National Hair Institute on 1800 Dr. Hair or visit www.drhair.com.au.
German engineered 2-litre Ford Focus. Smooth as.
There's plenty of smoke and mirrors out there when it comes to getting a good deal. At the Premix King, we're only interested in one thing, giving you the best deal on the planet. Get into the Premix King now and celebrate Jack's birthday with 2 free cans when you buy a 6-pack. That's right, 2 free cans when you buy a 6-pack. But don't muck around, because stocks won't last. This deal is available at all Premier's King stores. Ballarat, Horsham, Portland and Warrnambool.
Step back in time and explore the history and events that shaped country Victoria with the special 5-part series Pioneers. Part 2, The Northeast, is free with this Wednesday's Weekly Times.
Gaucho insecticide-treated seed is the star performer that's quicker out of the ground so you can get your stock to pasture faster. Gaucho, best on ground.
Welcome back to the Brownlow Medal for 2006. As we go to round 3, we hear from the 1988 winner, Gerard Healy. For him, it was a special win for personal reasons.
I think the emotion of the night was very much revolving around my grandfather, Bill O'Brien. He played for South Melbourne, played in the seconds, but he was dying, and he died a couple of days after the Brownlow Medal. So in many ways it was a goodbye present to somebody who'd been at almost every game I'd ever played and gave me 20 cents for every goal I kicked in the under-11s.
St Kilda were off and running in round 3, providing more proof of a new world order, and not even Brisbane's greatest champion could do anything about it. Hayes had 38 touches for the Saints.
The Geelong bubble was burst by the Hodge-inspired Hawks, who defied the Cats' every effort to pull their pants down.
The Bulldogs continued on their merry way, but anyone over 6 foot had cause for concern. Minson and Morgan, the latest to go down, and even the opposition weren't safe. Bomber captain Matthew Lloyd's season ending.
The Demons' season still hadn't started. Another defeat against the Crows in a line ball finish at Carrara.
It wasn't line ball at the Dome on Easter Monday. Chris Tarrant had his kicking boots on with 6 goals as the Pies stumped the Roos in round 3.
Round 3, St Kilda versus Brisbane. St Kilda, Al Montagna, 1 vote. St Kilda, N Del Santo, 2 votes. St Kilda, Al Hayes, 3 votes. Geelong versus Hawthorn. Hawthorn, R Vandenberg, 1 vote. Hawthorn, S Mitchell, 2 votes. Hawthorn, Al Hodge, 3 votes. Carlton versus Sydney. Sydney, B Kirk, 1 vote. Carlton, A Bentick, 2 votes. Sydney, J Bolton, 3 votes. West Coast versus Richmond. West Coast, M Nikoski, 1 vote. West Coast, C Fletcher, 2 votes. West Coast, D Kerr, 3 votes. Melbourne versus Adelaide. Melbourne, T Johnston, 1 vote. Adelaide, I Perry, 2 votes. Adelaide, B Burton, 3 votes. Essendon versus Western Bulldogs. Western Bulldogs, S West, 1 vote. Western Bulldogs, D Giansiracusa, 2 votes. Western Bulldogs, C Grant, 3 votes. Port Adelaide versus Fremantle. Fremantle, M Pavlich, 1 vote. Port Adelaide, B Lade, 2 votes. Fremantle, J Carr, 3 votes. Kangaroos versus Collingwood. Collingwood, C Tarrant, 1 vote. Collingwood, S O'Bree, 2 votes. Collingwood, B Johnson, 3 votes.
I was asked to go and get my photograph taken with a model in Fletcher Jones trousers at my Preston Motors with a Holden. My mind started to spin. I'll get this. I'll get this car. I'll be able to wear the trousers, and I'll get hold of the blonde as well. You wouldn't want to know. We had a series of shots. Someone whisked the pants out of my head. They drove the Holden away, and the girl wasn't on the phone. So, you know, things have changed a bit, you know.
Coco hasn't lost it. Neither had the Bulldogs in round 4, remaining unbeaten in a 1-point thriller at the Dome against the Cats.
Richmond's first win ensured the Lions' pain continued. Once again, the superstars looked mortal, and no one was spared a lethal dose of coaching frustration.
Meanwhile, the Demons opened their account in Sydney. The informed Cameron Bruce kicking a late goal, much to Jared Rivers' relief after a 50-metre calamity at the other end.
It was a Monday night classic in Adelaide with 6 Josh Marnie goals helping Port hold off the Saints in a high-scoring affair. Chad Corns dominating.
And the round concluded on Anzac Day as the MCG reopened for business. Over 90,000 packed the new-look stadium and saw Collingwood fight off the Bombers. Ben Johnson, best of field in round 4.
Round 4, Carlton versus Hawthorn. Hawthorn, Al Hodge, 1 vote. Carlton, Al Whitnell, 2 votes. Hawthorn, T. Crode, 3 votes. Western Bulldogs versus Geelong. Western Bulldogs, R. Murphy, 1 vote. Geelong, J. Corey, 2 votes. Western Bulldogs, S. West, 3 votes. Brisbane Lions versus Richmond. Brisbane, J. Brown, 1 vote. Richmond, G. Tivendale, 2 votes. Richmond, M. Richardson, 3 votes. Fremantle versus Adelaide. Fremantle, A. Sanderlands, 1 vote. Adelaide, S. Thompson, 2 votes. Adelaide, G. Johncock, 3 votes. Kangaroos versus West Coast Eagles. West Coast, R. Jones, 1 vote. West Coast, C. Judd, 2 votes. West Coast, D. Cox, 3 votes. Sydney versus Melbourne. Sydney, R. O'Keefe, 1 vote. Melbourne, B. Pickett, 2 votes. Melbourne, B. Miller, 3 votes. Port Adelaide versus St Kilda. Port Adelaide, J. Marnie, 1 vote. Port Adelaide, P. Burgoyne, 2 votes. Port Adelaide, B. Lade, 3 votes. Collingwood versus Essendon. Essendon, N. Lovett Murray, 1 vote. Collingwood, A. Didak, 2 votes. Collingwood, B. Johnson, 3 votes.
So, a very interesting leaderboard after 4 rounds of the Brownlow medal. Let's have a look at the top 10 as it stands at the moment. We have a 3-way tie from the West Coast Eagles, Dean Cox, from Collingwood, Ben Johnson, and from the Bulldogs, Scott West. Joel Corey also polling well with 7. Brendan Lade has 6. They're the top 5. Over the page also with 6, Josh Carr, Lenny Hayes and Daniel Kerr. Those 3 men cannot win it, being suspended. And rounding out the top 10, Peter Burgoyne and Jonathan Brown. So after 4 rounds of the Brownlow medal, we have a 3-way tie.
Gee, very tight at the top. 3 players on 8 votes. But let's take a look at the scorecard of the 2004 Brownlow winner, Chris Judd. And he's right on expectations. We predicted to round 4 he had received 2 votes. He has. He's ranked 3rd overall to finish 3rd in the Brownlow medal. But look at rounds 5, 6 and 7. We expect him to hold votes in each of the next 3 rounds. So big 3 weeks coming up for the champ, Chris Judd.
And Cameron Bruce, the brilliant Melbourne midfielder, he's got his first votes of the night and he's going along nicely there. We believe he'll finish 8th. The best he's ever done is 9 votes, and that was back in 2004.
Rob, how did you enjoy the fashion tonight?
Oh, just sensational, Michael. Some wonderful, pretty frocks there.
Let's take a look at some frocks as we go to the break. This is the Brownlow medal of 2006.
Returning soon to 10.
We are looking for another shirt just like this.
Identical, yeah, same color, same pattern, 16-inch neck, 33-inch sleeve.
He's everyone's favorite defective detective.
Yeah, something on your shoulder.
Oh, it's a mole. It's my trademark.
Tony Shalhoub in the award-winning comedy that's got to be just right.
What are you doing?
If you put one on this side, you'd be perfect. Your career would...
Brand new mug returns to Saturdays soon on 10.
Glass Celtis tractors offer performance, comfort and affordability. Right now, they're available at a low 5.5% interest rate. Check it out at your local Glass dealer today. Glass tractors. We only look expensive.
Coming to a dinner table near you. It's hot, it's steamy, and the critics love it. The new Tuscan chicken sandwich. Hot and fresh from the oven. Don't miss it. Subway! Eat safe!
There's plenty of smoke and mirrors out there when it comes to getting a good deal. At the Premix King, we're only interested in one thing, giving you the best deal on the planet. Get into the Premix King now and celebrate Jack's birthday with 2 free cans when you buy a 6-pack. That's right, 2 free cans when you buy a 6-pack. But don't muck around, because stocks won't last. This deal is available at all Premix King stores: Ballarat, Horsham, Portland and Warrnambool.
The Glenelg Hopkins CMA, together with the community, has planted over 1.5 million seedlings in the region. Together, we have planted over 6,500 kilometres of direct seeding and erected over 1,500 kilometres of protective fencing throughout the Glenelg Hopkins CMA region.
So much has been done, but there's still so much more to do. Glenelg Hopkins CMA, protecting our future naturally for future generations.
Right on target. Target only your grey hair with Just for Men hair colour. In 5 easy minutes, grey's gone for a natural look.
You nailed me.
Just for Men. Right on target.
There's DIY classes, they do ladies' nights. Everyone's got a question for their house or for their job, and people really go off feeling pretty chuffed with themselves that we helped them right through to the end.
Snap laminate flooring, $17.88 per square metre. Multifold ladder, $149. Rover petrol lawnmower, $298. 4-litre solar guard deck and timber paint, $56.90. Jack handsaw, $9.98.
That's the best part of it, really.
Bunnings Warehouse! Lowest prices are just the beginning.
For Start's first time, every time reliability. For the world's most powerful small engine technology. For superior durability. Upgrade to Advanced 4 technology lawnmowers. Only from Honda.
What does it take to be a Brownlow medalist?
It takes knowledge, commitment and perseverance. The same skills you need to help protect our waterways. Help protect our waterways by looking after your stormwater drain.
And welcome back to the Brownlow for 2006. We're up to round 5. 1975 was a bad year for Footscray for several reasons, but it did end on a high note.
It was very emotional that night. We'd had a horrific year. We'd lost Neil Stash with that horrific neck injury, and poor Bobby Rose. Robert had got injured the year before, and we thought we were going places, and we didn't. And I think it was just one of those things. I felt that we all deserved to win the Brownlow that year because of what we went through. And it was amazing. I think every player bar one ended up either back at the Southern Cross or back at my house, and we celebrated long and hard. And I think I've never forgotten the night that every player showed up.
Well, by round 5, it became apparent that some teams were handling the breakneck speed of modern footy better than others. The Richmond-Carlton clash marred by turnovers, with only Richo taking the game to any heights.
Byron Pickett produced a big one against his original club as the Demons downed the Kangas in a thriller. A rampant Nathan Thompson, the talking point, benching himself in the last minutes.
The Crows brought the Bulldogs back to earth, with Simon Goodwin again racking them up.
What about the votes, though? So was Chris Judd, again dominating the Lions. 39 touches, 8 tackles, 4 goals and 5 opponents.
But a soggy MCG bomber youngster Angus Monfries missed, while the Hawks' Mark Williams slotted it through, allowing his team to be the 1-point winner.
While Launceston was the venue for Siren Gate. Chaos reigned at the end of the match, but the record books will show that Freo beat the Saints. The win achieved at a commission meeting 3 days after the event in round 5.
Round 5, Richmond versus Carlton. Carlton, R. Houlihan, 1 vote. Richmond, M. Richardson, 2 votes. Richmond, C. Hyde, 3 votes. Melbourne versus Kangaroos. Kangaroos, N. Thompson, 1 vote. Melbourne, A. Uze, 2 votes. Melbourne, B. Pickett, 3 votes. Adelaide versus Western Bulldogs. Adelaide, M. Bode, 1 vote. Adelaide, M. Matner, 2 votes. Adelaide, S. Goodwin, 3 votes. Sydney versus Geelong. Geelong, C. Mooney, 1 vote. Sydney, A. Schneider, 2 votes. Sydney, B. Hall, 3 votes. West Coast versus Brisbane. West Coast, B. Jones, 1 vote. West Coast, C. Stengline, 2 votes. West Coast, C. Judd, 3 votes. St Kilda versus Fremantle. St Kilda, B. Voss, 1 vote. Fremantle, J. Carr, 2 votes. Fremantle, M. Pavlich, 3 votes. Collingwood versus Port Adelaide. Collingwood, N. Buckley, 1 vote. Port Adelaide, K. Corns, 2 votes. Collingwood, P. Licuria, 3 votes. Hawthorn versus Essendon. Essendon, B. Stanton, 1 vote. Hawthorn, B. Dixon, 2 votes. Hawthorn, C. Bateman, 3 votes.
So I arrived to pick up my normal navy blue suit, and the guy said, look, we've had a bit of a problem, but don't worry, I've got you a suit. So when he brought out the brown velvet number, I thought, holy heck, what am I going to do here? The Southern Cross is a very dark place, no one will notice tonight, and it happened to be the night.
Josh Hunt was smiling early in round 6, but the joke was on Geelong. Cameron Bruce starred as the Demons dished out the Cats' 4th straight defeat.
Time for a review, I thought. 34 stylish Nick Del Santo disposals saw the Saints get over the Doggies. Unfortunately, Justin Kazitsky saw nothing until it was too late.
The stars shone in the WA Derby, with the Dockers causing the upset. Judd brilliant, although Freo fans begged to differ.
Popular decision. The Crows overcame the wild weather and Port Adelaide to win the showdown.
And the goods train was starting to roll with 28 possessions and 2 goals at the Gabba. But Jason Ackermanis was losing it against an old tormentor. Another loss, and the Lions were still on the bottom of the ladder at the end of round 6.
Round 6, Melbourne versus Geelong. Melbourne, A. Davey, 1 vote. Geelong, C. Ling, 2 votes. Melbourne, B. McLean, 3 votes. St Kilda versus Western Bulldogs. St Kilda, R. Harvey, 1 vote. St Kilda, N. Del Santo, 2 votes. St Kilda, B. Goddard, 3 votes. Fremantle versus West Coast. Fremantle, J. Carr, 1 vote. Fremantle, M. Johnson, 2 votes. West Coast, C. Judd, 3 votes. Essendon versus Richmond. Richmond, J. Bowden, 1 vote. Essendon, S. Lucas, 2 votes. Richmond, D. Polo, 3 votes. Adelaide versus Port Adelaide. Adelaide, M. Doughty, 1 vote. Adelaide, T. Henschel, 2 votes. Adelaide, T. Edwards, 3 votes. Brisbane versus Sydney. Sydney, J. Crouch, 1 vote. Brisbane, M. Riscatelli, 2 votes. Sydney, A. Goods, 3 votes. Carlton versus Collingwood. Carlton, Al Whitnell, 1 vote. Collingwood, P. Licuria, 2 votes. Collingwood, S. O'Brien, 3 votes. Kangaroos versus Hawthorn. Kangaroos, D. Wells, 1 vote. Kangaroos, S. Grant, 2 votes. Kangaroos, N. Thompson, 3 votes.
So a quarter of the way through the Brownlow medal count for 2006. Let's have a look at the top 10. And it's the ineligible Josh Carr from the Fremantle Dockers leading the way with 9 votes. Dean Cox is 8, as is Collingwood's Ben Johnson. West Coast Eagles' Chris Judd with 2 BOGs moves up to 8. Scott West from the Bulldogs also on 8. Joel Corey from the Cats has 7. Brendan Lade is on 6. Lenny Hayes 6. Daniel Kerr 6. And Chance Bateman has 5. Time now to shoot over to Burswood Casino in Perth, where we speak to a man who won the Brownlow a couple of years ago. He's going to lead the West Coast Eagles into the grand final on Saturday. Good evening to Chris Judd. Hi, Chris.
Good evening. How you going?
Good, mate. No vodka, lime and sodas tonight for you, I'd imagine.
No, pretty low-key tonight. I don't think I'll be sneaking any in.
Now, firstly, let's get the important thing out of the way. Rebecca looks sensational as always.
She does, yes. She's, got a dress made out of 100-year-old material, and I'm told that's very important, so she looks very nice.
Give us a wave, Rebecca. Hello. You look sensational. Going into this year's grand final, Chris, any different to last year?
A little bit different in that I think we know what to expect, particularly with the lead-up and, the parade and those sorts of things. So I think we're a little bit more relaxed this time round, but obviously just as excited and really looking forward to it.
Well, you're starting to poll well, Chris. Thanks for your time. We might speak to you a little bit later on.
Thanks, Cordis.
Chris Judd there from the West Coast Eagles. So the leader after round 6 of the Brownlow medal is the suspended Fremantle star, Josh Carr.
With Josh Carr ineligible, Dean Cox is one of the equal leaders in the Brownlow medal. Let's look at his scorecard. And Rob, there's not too much coming up. He's polled 8 votes, but as you can see, we don't predict he'll get another vote in the can. Of course, the crosses there indicating that he missed 5 games in the latter part of the year.
And Jonathan Brown, the big Brisbane player, you can see there that we expect he'll get votes in the next few rounds coming up. Round 7 to 10, he actually kicked 26 goals, and then, of course, he missed with plenty of injury.
Back after the break for round 7, the voting in the 2006 Brownlow medal.
This week on Road, comedian Will Anderson, Collingwood legend Strawny, and Idol hosts James and Andrew. A hair-raising road, Tuesday on 10.
I studied a Bachelor of Computing at the University of Ballarat, and this is me after UB.
If you want me, send for me. If you want me, all you gotta do is send for me. Don't wait too long to pick up your phone. I'll be there. I'll be there.
For Start's first time, every time reliability. For the world's most powerful small engine technology. For no oil and fuel mixing. Upgrade to Advanced 4 technology brush cutters. Only from Honda.
Jump into family fun this summer with Rebel Sport Ballarat. Bounce away with this 14-foot round trampoline and net enclosure for just $695. For the biggest range in trampolines and lowest prices guaranteed. It's got to be Rebel Sport Ballarat. Terms and conditions apply. See in-store for details.
There's plenty of smoke and mirrors out there when it comes to getting a good deal. At the Premix King, we're only interested in one thing, giving you the best deal on the planet. Get into the Premix King now and celebrate Jack's birthday with 2 free cans when you buy a 6-pack. That's right, 2 free cans when you buy a 6-pack. But don't muck around, because stocks won't last. This deal is available at all Premix King stores, Ballarat, Horsham, Portland and Warrnambool.
We're running kind of late, so how about...
Breakfast at a Subway restaurant. It's the Aussie Sausage, a deli-style breakfast roll with your choice of egg, bacon, cheese and sausage. Subway, eat fresh.
The Sanyong Muso, a stronger, stunning alternative for the worker. Now with free alloys, 3 side steps, ABS and tow kit. All from just $25,990 at Peter Stevens Sanyong.
Randbuild has got you covered. Buy a Randbuild shed today and receive bonus Ryobi drills plus a stack of tools. Just what you need to put up your shed. Randbuild. Better sheds, bigger choice.
If it wasn't for these people, my little boy wouldn't be speaking, and he is now.
I've been aware of the great work of the Royal Institute for Deaf and Blind Children for many years now. I help them, and I urge you to do the same.
One is silver and the other's gold.
2 benders. That can only mean one thing.
What do you say we just hit a strip joint? Oh, I love me.
Double the laughs on Futurama. 8 o'clock Tuesday on 10.
Thanks to Toyota, we've seen some spectacular marks in 2006. Among the contenders for Toyota Mark of the Year is this classic grab from Daniel Kerr. Adam Uze has a chance after flying high against the Cavs. And Byron Sherman put his hand up with this round 22 specky against the Power. Ambitious kick to Sherman. It's a hanger from Sherman. Toyota, good for footy.
Welcome back to the Brownlow Medal for 2006 on your Premiership Network, Channel 10. For the remainder of the count now, I will have a ticker box over my right shoulder to keep you up to date at home with the leaderboard. Well, back in 1999, Hawthorn's Shane Crawford was the red-hot favourite for the Brownlow Medal, and he did not disappoint. And I tell you what, his win put a small town well and truly on the map.
It did so much for the little country town where I'm from, which is Finley. It sort of blew me away. I didn't realise how much it would give a little country town such a lift. You know, just people being so proud to say where they're from, and not only that, they changed the name of the town. They called it Crawford Town, still called Crawford Town. So I'm going to have to win another Brownlow.
Let's get on with round 7 then, and Carlton finally tasted success. Lance continued his hot form as the Blues defeated Essendon. This typified Andrew Lovett's day.
You just would not believe that was possible.
The Crows were top of the ladder after thrashing the Roos. Simon Goodwin now second favourite for the medal.
Collingwood took on West Coast, or should we say Christian?
Three Collingwood players with acceleration and threats it through. And Jonathan Brown was making his move with 8 goals in a demolition of the Hawks at the Gabba in round 7.
Round 7, St Kilda versus Geelong. Geelong, D. Milburn, 1 vote. Geelong, C. Ling, 2 votes. Geelong, P. Chapman, 3 votes. Melbourne versus Fremantle. Melbourne, A. Uze, 1 vote. Fremantle, M. Pavlich, 2 votes. Melbourne, T. Johnston, 3 votes. Richmond versus Sydney. Sydney, A. Buchanan, 1 vote. Sydney, B. Kirk, 2 votes. Sydney, R. O'Keefe, 3 votes. Hawthorn versus Brisbane. Brisbane, M. Michael, 1 vote. Brisbane, S. Black, 2 votes. Brisbane, J. Brown, 3 votes. West Coast versus Collingwood. West Coast, Q. Lynch, 1 vote. Collingwood, S. Wakelin, 2 votes. West Coast, C. Judd, 3 votes. Port Adelaide versus Western Bulldogs. Western Bulldogs, D. Giansiracusa, 1 vote. Western Bulldogs, R. Murphy, 2 votes. Western Bulldogs, B. Johnson, 3 votes. Carlton versus Essendon. Carlton, H. Scotland, 1 vote. Carlton, B. Favola, 2 votes. Carlton, N. Stevens, 3 votes. Kangaroos versus Adelaide. Adelaide, M. Risciuto, 1 vote. Adelaide, K. Massey, 2 votes. Adelaide, B. Burton, 3 votes.
When I did win it, I was up there and I said, you never play for these things, but I'd recommend it to any young footballer sort of coming through, because it was a magnificent feeling. To have shared it with Goodsy and Rue at the time was, I thought it was great to have shared it with 2 guys that I've got a lot of respect for.
Terry Wallace and his Tigers provided the talking point of round 8 as they refused to give Adelaide a sniff.
Even in fast forward, some found the tactics mind-numbing, but it produced a stunning win over the top team.
While Plough loved it, Kevin Sheedy didn't, declaring that his team would never play this game.
I want to build a team to win a premiership. You can play that basketball crap all the time. That's why I don't play basketball. Okay?
Debate about the style of the game didn't stop supporters of Geelong and Collingwood turning up in massive numbers at the G. But Cats fans soon wished they hadn't bothered. They were crushed by a rampant Magpie team to the tune of 102 points. It was enough to give any Geelong person a headache, or 2.
Jude Bolton's 32 touches were a headache for the Bulldogs as the Swans won well in Sydney.
Jonathan Brown kicked another bag for the Lions as they toppled the Power.
And Nick Riewoldt 9 goals 3 was almost double Carlton's entire score as the Saints trashed the Blues.
Well, Ben Johnson is one of the surprise packets tonight. He's only 3 off the pace and another 27 possessions in this big win by the Magpies over the Cats, so he could get more votes, Tim.
And we heard about Jude Bolton's 32 possessions, but it was a big bustling blitz at the SCG. Barry Hall 20 disposals, 11 marks, 5 goals against the Dogs, taking votes off Adam Goods perhaps in round 8.
Round 8. Hawthorn versus Melbourne. Melbourne, T. Johnston, 1 vote. Melbourne, D. Neitz, 2 votes. Melbourne, B. McLean, 3 votes. Richmond versus Adelaide. Adelaide, T. Edwards, 1 vote. Richmond, T. Simmons, 2 votes. Richmond, A. Callaway, 3 votes. Fremantle versus Kangaroos. Kangaroos, B. Harvey, 1 vote. Fremantle, P. Hazelby, 2 votes. Fremantle, M. Pavlich, 3 votes. Collingwood versus Geelong. Collingwood, H. Shaw, 1 vote. Collingwood, L. Davis, 2 votes. Collingwood, D. Swan, 3 votes. Western Bulldogs versus Sydney. Sydney, L. Ablett, 1 vote. Sydney, B. Hall, 2 votes. Sydney, A. Goods, 3 votes. Port Adelaide versus Brisbane. Brisbane, D. Bradshaw, 1 vote. Brisbane, J. Brown, 2 votes. Brisbane, S. Black, 3 votes. Carlton versus St Kilda. St Kilda, R. Harvey, 1 vote. St Kilda, L. Hayes, 2 votes. St Kilda, N. Revolt, 3 votes. Essendon versus West Coast. West Coast, D. Chick, 1 vote. West Coast, B. Cousins, 2 votes. West Coast, A. Embley, 3 votes.
So some big names polling in round 8 of the Brownlow Medal for 2006 as we once again check the leaderboard. And in front from the West Coast Eagles is Chris Judd with 3 best on ground performances so far. He's 2 clear of Jonathan Brown. Matthew Pavlich starting to poll really well. He's also up to 9 along with Josh Carr. Dean Cox stuck on 8 at the moment. They make up the top 5 along with Ben Johnson still on 8. Scott West from the Western Bulldogs on 8. Lenny Hayes has got 8. Joel Corey from the Cats has got 7. And Simon Black from the Brisbane Lions 6. So the leader after round 8 of the Brownlow Medal for the West Coast Eagles is Chris Judd.
The 2004 winner, Chris Judd, doing it beautifully. But let's take a look at the scorecard of the favourite, Adam Goods, after round 8. You can see we only predicted he'd have 3 votes up until this stage. He's got 6. And look at the votes coming in the second half of the season, signified by the green V. So a good position, Adam Goods.
Absolutely, and Brad Johnson, All-Australian captain this year. Currently he has 6 votes, and the most he's ever received at the Brownlow Medal is 7. And that was way back in 1998.
Some more of the red carpet as we go to the break. You're watching the 2006 Brownlow Medal.
Headlining 10 News tonight, arsonists blamed after 7 homes are destroyed in a bushfire nightmare. Bill Clinton lunges to defend his reputation, losing his cool on camera. And Telstra bosses get millions as the share price slides. All the details, 10's late news.
And in sports tonight, West Coast captain Chris Judd reveals why he thinks the Eagles will win.
Proud to accept this award for True Energy. We love gas and electricity, but this isn't for us. It's for you and big business and little business and middle-sized business. We're the cool in your summer and the warmth in your winter and the heat in your tucker. This is for all the people out there who look after you day in, day out. Congratulations to them, I say. Congratulations.
If you're a working man in town or on the land, Ballarat Toyota can drive your costs down. If you're out there on the road, we can ease your load. Ballarat Toyota can drive your costs down. Ballarat Toyota means business. Yes, we do. Ballarat Toyota means business. Better get into Ballarat Toyota means business. We mean business. Oh, what a feeling. Ballarat Toyota means business. We can drive your costs down.
Hi, Mr. O'Brien. Didn't I check that for you last week?
I thought that you could take another look.
Looks fine to me.
Thanks, Julie.
How's Mrs. O'Brien?
Good, thanks.
Grab a still line trimmer from $249.
We're all out. So how about
breakfast at a Subway restaurant?
It's
the Aussie sausage, a deli-style breakfast roll with your choice of egg, bacon, cheese and sausage. Subway. Eat fresh.
If you want me, send for me. If you want me, all you gotta do is send for me. Don't wait too long to pick up your phone. I'll be there. I'll be there.
I studied a Bachelor of Commerce and Computing at the University of Ballarat, and this is me after UB.
Guess what? I got through.
The selection process was the least of their concerns.
These colours, guys, look like you've been on acid or something.
What will happen when these 25 troubled teens head into the kitchen?
I would have given you that 29 seconds and you would have been dead.
7:30 Thursday. Imagine trying to become a chef while getting off heroin.
They've all got baggage.
She's got the whole jumbo.
Find out why the critics call this life-affirming TV.
Jamie's Kitchen Australia, 7:30 Thursday.
Welcome back. Well, last year a swan called Barry produced one of the most historic moments in the history of AFL Grand Finals. But back in 1981, there was another swan called Barry making a name for himself.
79 came on and they said, oh, the leak is out that you've won the Brownlow. So I go to the Southern Cross and sit there all night and nervous and took it pretty easy and remembering who I was going to thank in the speech. And anyway, Peter Moore won. I came equal third, I think, or fourth. And so when 1981 came, they said, oh, you've got a pretty good chance of winning it this year. And I thought, well, I'm not going to waste another night of the hospitality of the AFL or VFL. So I hopped into it pretty well and I can't remember who I thanked in my speech.
Collingwood's superb form continued in round 9, outlasting the Bulldogs in a shootout. Scotty West got another 40. The Dogs losing no respect, but they did lose another key player, Robert Murphy, doing his knee.
Richmond's first win at Geelong for 16 years sent the Cats plunging deeper into the mire. Review momentum was building.
Andrew McLeod and Simon Goodwin dominated as the Crows stuffed the Blues.
And Brownlow favouritism was about to change as Chris Judd did a hammy against the Demons.
While Jonathan Brown again thrust his name forward to be one of the medal fancies with 7 goals against the Dockers. One of the other fancies tonight, Adam Goodes, also did well in this round. 28 possessions and 16 marks against Hawthorn.
And Brendan Lade was playing like an All-Australian ruckman. He had 20 disposals and 10 marks against Essendon at Telstra Dome in round 9.
Round 9, Collingwood versus Western Bulldogs. Collingwood, P. Lacuria, 1 vote. Collingwood, D. Swan, 2 votes. Western Bulldogs, S. West, 3 votes. Geelong versus Richmond. Richmond, R. Tambling, 1 vote. Geelong, P. Chapman, 2 votes. Richmond, C. Newman, 3 votes. Adelaide versus Carlton. Adelaide, N. Bassett, 1 vote. Adelaide, S. Thompson, 2 votes. Adelaide, A. McLeod, 3 votes. Essendon versus Port Adelaide. Port Adelaide, S. Burgoyne, 1 vote. Port Adelaide, B. Lade, 2 votes. Port Adelaide, D. Pearce, 3 votes. Hawthorn versus Sydney. Hawthorn, J. Lewis, 1 vote. Sydney, N. Fosdyke, 2 votes. Sydney, A. Goods, 3 votes. Brisbane versus Fremantle. Brisbane, J. Sherman, 1 vote. Brisbane, S. Black, 2 votes. Brisbane, J. Brown, 3 votes. St Kilda versus Kangaroos. St Kilda, L. Ball, 1 vote. Kangaroos, S. Grant, 2 votes. St Kilda, R. Harvey, 3 votes. West Coast versus Melbourne. West Coast, M. Nikoski, 1 vote. West Coast, C. Judd, 2 votes. West Coast, D. Kerr, 3 votes.
When I was called up on stage, you know, here I was with my dad, and
standing around me were all these people that I really looked up to, that were playing the game, you know, like the Kernahans and the Locketts and these legends, and I sort of felt very humble to be in there, just alone be in their company, but to be standing on a stage and being acknowledged by them was something else. And in some way I wasn't sure whether I really had earned that right. So it was very humbling.
Round 10 was comeback round. The Eagles wiping off a 54-point third quarter deficit to defeat a shattered Geelong.
The Swans ran over the top of the Kangas in Canberra with Barry Hall starring.
And the Dockers stormed home at Subi to pinch the game from the Tigers.
Blake Caracella's career ended in one awful moment at the MCG. Thankfully, he walked out of hospital a few days later. Nathan Buckley sank the Lions, though, with a career-high 6 goals. You know, he's never polled a vote in round 10.
And whether it was kicking straight into a teammate...
Look at Graham kicking to his own man.
...or missing the ball entirely, the Saints just couldn't hit the mark against the D's, as David Neitz celebrated breaking the club games record by slotting 8.
Well, Geelong's Joel Corey is still on the leaderboard. He has a very good game in round 10. 36 disposals. Of course, the Cats did go down, however.
Scott West's enemy here might be his teammate Brad Johnson. 30 disposals, 11 marks, 4 goals in a win over Hawthorn in round 10.
Round 10, Adelaide versus Essendon. Adelaide, Emra Shuto, 1 vote. Adelaide, Kay McGregor, 2 votes. Adelaide, T. Henschel, 3 votes. Geelong versus West Coast. West Coast, B. Cousins, 1 vote. West Coast, D. Cox, 2 votes. West Coast, D. Kerr, 3 votes. Western Bulldogs versus Hawthorn. Hawthorn, J. Lewis, 1 vote. Western Bulldogs, R. Griffin, 2 votes. Western Bulldogs, B. Johnson, 3 votes. Collingwood versus Brisbane. Brisbane, J. Brown, 1 vote. Collingwood, S. O'Brien, 2 votes. Collingwood, N. Buckley, 3 votes. Fremantle versus Richmond. Richmond, J. Bowden, 1 vote. Richmond, S. Tuck, 2 votes. Fremantle, B. Peake, 3 votes. Kangaroos versus Sydney. Sydney, A. Buchanan, 1 vote. Kangaroos, B. Harvey, 2 votes. Sydney, A. Goods, 3 votes. Carlton versus Port Adelaide. Port Adelaide, S. Dew, 1 vote. Port Adelaide, S. Burgoyne, 2 votes. Port Adelaide, D. Pearce, 3 votes. Melbourne versus St Kilda. Melbourne, T. Johnston, 1 vote. St Kilda, N. Del Santo, 2 votes. Melbourne, D. Neitz, 3 votes.
Well, some big pollers in the Brownlow medal for 2006 as we near the halfway mark. Let's check the top 10 leaderboard, and we have dual leaders from the Brisbane Lions, Jonathan Brown, although he didn't play for most of the second half of the season. Chris Judd from the West Coast Eagles did, although he did miss 3 matches. They both got 13. Goods, a bit of a flyer now, 4 best on ground. He's got 12, as has Daniel Kerr, who was ineligible. Scott West doing well with 11. Dean Cox has 10. Brad Johnson, another Bulldog, polling well with 9. Matthew Pavlich has 9. Josh Carr 9. And Simon Black from the Brisbane Lions has 8. Let's now go to the Sydney Hilton, where we're joined by the hot favourite for the Brownlow for 2006, and he is polling particularly well, Adam Goods. 4 best on grounds already. Welcome.
Yeah, thanks, Quarters.
How's it all feeling, mate? What sort of chance do you give yourself tonight?
Oh, you know, you can never sort of predict these sort of nights. We're just up here getting prepared for another grand final.
How's it compared to this time last year? Are you a bit more relaxed going into it this time?
Definitely a little bit more prepared for what the week can bring. Obviously, the boys are looking forward to it, and we can't wait.
Well, you've got 12 votes. How did you rate your second half of the season compared to the first half?
I think it was this time of the year that we started to win some games, 6 in a row, I think, and then we had a bit of a bad patch coming up. So you never know who's going to get the votes. I think I've been a little bit lucky up to now.
Adam, thanks for your time. Might speak to you a little bit later on.
Thanks, Gordon.
Adam Goods from the Sydney Swans. The leaders after round 10 of the Brownlow for 2006 from the West Coast Eagles, Chris Judd, and from the Brisbane Lions, Jonathan Brown.
You're doing a wonderful job, Rob. Jonathan Brown, equal leader with Chris Judd. But let's look at the scorecard of St Kilda champ Nick Revolt. We predicted he'd have 6 votes up until round 10. He has just 3. You'll see that we expect him to pick votes up in the second part of the season. Certainly needs to get a hurry on, though, if he's going to figure tonight.
He does, and Matthew Pavlich, the star of the Fremantle Dockers, currently has 9 votes. We predicted that he might only have 6 at this stage, so he's going along very nicely there. 4-time All-Australian player.
As we go to the break, let's look at more of the wonderful fashion on display tonight.
House is trained to save lives.
Not anymore.
Join the doctor everybody loves. House, 8:30 Wednesday.
Sifa is trained to kill and control, but she's about to lose it big time.
Brand new Wednesday.
He's dead.
Could Ziva be responsible for the death of a suspect?
Officer David is not off the hook here.
This is where I resign.
A brand new NCIS, 9:30 Wednesday. If your house is damaged, your insurance might only be enough to fix this much. Or maybe only this much. But Amy's new complete replacement cover gets your house back to normal and guarantees you'll never be underinsured. Does your insurance do that?
Nissan X-Trail has an extreme engine, an extreme all-mode 4x4 system, and an extreme interior. Well, it did tell you it was extreme.
Husqvarna's all-wheel drive riders go anywhere. Powerful, easy-drive machines with exceptional manoeuvrability, performance and enhanced control on all terrain. Riders from $6,995. Arrange a demo at your participating Husqvarna specialist dealer for your chance to win a trip to Sweden.
Harvey Norman eases the squeeze with a breakthrough offer. No deposit, no interest until 2010. That's 40 months to pay off the new fridge, washer, plasma or home theatre package. 40 months interest-free on your new lounge or dining suite, bedroom update or outdoor setting. 40 months to pay for the latest computer equipment, mobile technology or hot gaming package. No deposit, no interest until 2010. What an amazing offer, but hurry, limited time only, now at Harvey Norman.
Proud to accept this award for True Energy. We love gas and electricity. But this isn't for us. It's for you and big business and little business and middle-sized business. We're the cool in your summer and the warmth in your winter and the heat in your tucker. This is for all the people out there who look after you day in, day out. Congratulations to them, I say. Congratulations. You're wonderful.
One of the dual winners of the Brownlow medal has been St Kilda's Robert Harvey, but the 1997 Brownlow medal proved to be a controversial night.
The situation with the Chris Grant getting the most votes was really strange. I actually didn't know who was underneath, second or third and all that sort of stuff. And when the end came and I could hear the murmurings and something was actually going on. Just didn't know exactly what it was, and yeah, it was a weird feeling in the room, and I sort of wasn't quite sure what to do with the whole thing. But yeah, I mean, in the end, it worked out well.
to round 11, and the Demons announced their arrival as a serious contender by downing the Magpies on Queen's birthday Monday. Davey, Bruce, Johnston, all star.
On a soggy SCG, Nick Rebold did a Leo Barry. The Saints hanging on against Sydney.
The Power won their third in a row, destroying the Hawks at home.
And Carlton just failed to go the distance against the top team. It was the Eagles' second big comeback in a row, with pinch hitter extraordinaire Adam Hunter going forward, kicking 4.
We continue to check on the leaders, and Scotty West is 2 off the pace. 29 possessions in round 11, busy around the stoppages.
Hutto, you're getting a bit excited. Paul Chapman, currently on 8, might thrust himself into the race here. A 32 possession game against Essendon. And Geelong with some good form to come, but this is round 11.
Round 11, Geelong versus Essendon. Geelong, G. Ablett, 1 vote. Essendon, D. Fletcher, 2 votes. Geelong, P. Chapman, 3 votes. Richmond versus Kangaroos. Richmond, K. Pettifer, 1 vote. Kangaroos, N. Thompson, 2 votes. Richmond, T. Simmons, 3 votes. Brisbane versus Adelaide. Brisbane, Al Power, 1 vote. Adelaide, N. Bassett, 2 votes. Brisbane, J. Ackermanis, 3 votes. Sydney versus St Kilda. St Kilda, M. Maguire, 1 vote. Sydney, B. Kirk, 2 votes. Sydney, N. Revolt, 3 votes. Port Adelaide versus Hawthorn. Port Adelaide, W. Treadray, 1 vote. Port Adelaide, B. Lade, 2 votes. Port Adelaide, D. Pearce, 3 votes. Western Bulldogs versus Fremantle. Fremantle, J. Carr, 1 vote. Western Bulldogs, A. Cooney, 2 votes. Western Bulldogs, S. West, 3 votes. West Coast versus Carlton. West Coast, A. Hunter, 1 vote. Carlton, L. Whitnell, 2 votes. Carlton, B. Favola, 3 votes. Melbourne versus Collingwood. Melbourne, B. Green, 1 vote. Melbourne, T. Johnston, 2 votes. Melbourne, C. Bruce, 3 votes.
My medal was the last presentation on the Oval, and in a sense I feel very proud of that fact. And to be able to run a lap of honour with the other 10 captains who weren't involved in that particular final on second semi-final day in 1970, to run a lap of the Oval with those fellas, with a crowd of in excess of 100,000, it was really a spine-tingling experience.
The split round, Adelaide trounce St Kilda. Simon Goodwin needs some votes. He might get them here, 34 possessions.
Believe it or not, the pressure was mounting at this stage of the year on Chris Connolly after a disappointing home loss to Geelong. The Cats must have been going well because for once Cameron Mooney was rubbing the umpires up the right way.
Some players would do anything for a vote. Brad Johnson starred as the Bulldogs took the points over the Lions at the Gabba. Despite the visitors suffering another big knee injury, Mitch Hahn's season now over.
Lance Franklin, though, was just getting started. His half dozen helped the Hawks sink the Tigers down in Tasman.
While Sean Burgoyne's 34 possession game was surely one of the best of the year as the Power shocked West Coast.
And our current leader, Scotty West, in good form in round 12. Another 36 disposals, 9 marks, and even a goal against the Brisbane Lions.
And as perennial as the Gabba grass, Simon Black just keeps polling votes. 26 disposals, 3 goals in a loss to the Bulldogs in round 12.
Round 12, St Kilda versus Adelaide. Adelaide, S. Thompson, 1 vote. Adelaide, S. Goodwin, 2 votes. Adelaide, T. Edwards, 3 votes. Fremantle versus Geelong. Geelong, J. Hunt, 1 vote. Geelong, C. Mooney, 2 votes. Geelong, G. Ablett, 3 votes. Brisbane versus Western Bulldogs. Western Bulldogs, P. Street, 1 vote. Western Bulldogs, B. Johnson, 2 votes. Western Bulldogs, S. West, 3 votes. Port Adelaide versus West Coast. Port Adelaide, D. Wakeland, 1 vote. Port Adelaide, B. Lade, 2 votes. Port Adelaide, S. Burgoyne, 3 votes. Hawthorn versus Richmond. Hawthorn, T. Clark, 1 vote. Hawthorn, Al Franklin, 2 votes. Hawthorn, S. Mitchell, 3 votes. Essendon versus Melbourne. Melbourne, J. McDonald, 1 vote. Melbourne, C. Bruce, 2 votes. Melbourne, T. Johnston, 3 votes. Kangaroos versus Carlton. Kangaroos, S. Grant, 1 vote. Kangaroos, M. Murphy, 2 votes. Of Carlton, apologies, M. Murphy, 2 votes. Kangaroos, N. Thompson, 3 votes. Sydney versus Collingwood. Collingwood, R. Loney, 1 vote. Collingwood, J. Fraser, 2 votes. Collingwood, H. Shaw, 3 votes.
Well, let's not get ahead of ourselves, but is this the year for Scott West? He is polling magnificently well. Let's check the leaderboard. After 12 completed rounds, and West is up to 17 votes, ahead of Jonathan Brown and Chris Judd, both on 13. Adam Goods has a dozen, as does Brendan Lade from Port Adelaide, who had a magnificent season. Also on 12 is the suspended Daniel Kerr. Paul Chapman polling well from the Cats with 11, along with Brad Johnson from the Dogs, and Melbourne's Travis Johnston. And rounding out the top 10 with 10 votes is Dean Cox. So after round 12 of the Brownlow medal count for 2006, your leader from the Western Bulldogs is Scott West.
Well, he's finished in the top 4 on 4 occasions. Our leader, Scott West. Let's look at his scorecard. And up until round 12, where he'd only predicted he'd have 14 votes, he's got 17. And of course, after round 22, we predicted 23. So Scott West, the favourite, is on track to win the medal, Rob.
Going beautifully, and Paul Chapman, the nuggety Geelong player, one of my very favourites. He's got 11 votes, and that's more than we expected he might at this stage. Going very well, and we predict he'll get more votes as the season unfolds.
Over halfway through the 2006 Brownlow medal count. Back shortly with round 13.
Catch up with all the latest stories Tuesday on 10.
Oh, this guy, he's... Whoa.
New Wedge at 8:30.
Then at 9 o'clock.
I don't think I'm exaggerating when I say this is the most amazing event in the entire history of humankind.
We finally track down the missing musical by Shakespeare.
Who hath farted?
Farts are very funny.
Real stories following the Wedge from 8:30 Tuesday.
Randbuild has got you covered. Buy a Randbuild shed today and receive bonus Ryobi drills plus a stack of tools. Just what you need to put up your shed. Randbuild. Better sheds, bigger choice.
If you've been injured in a motor vehicle accident and not sure who to turn to legally, then contact Stringer Clark today. Stringer Clark will help you get back on your feet. Stringer Clark, compensation solicitors. Expert advice close to home.
At Southern Financial Group, we like to talk opportunity.
The opportunity you get to invest your money wisely.
The opportunities our younger people have to plan a secure financial future for themselves and their families.
It's your opportunity to finance your business dream. 2 sugar things, Dad.
To buy a farm or a business and lease equipment.
If it has to do with finance, then your opportunity is here.
With us at Southern Financial Group.
Southern Financial Group, committed to you and your future.
Look, on the horizon. Is it a camper trailer? Is it a pop-top? Is it a caravan? No, it's Supervan. Your ideal caravan from World of Caravans, 140 Canterbury Road, Bayswater.
Now is the time to sign up for a Bravo. It's the Mazda Bravo diesel run-out. Get huge bonuses on all diesel Bravos, 4x4 and 4x2 Bravos. Single cab, twin cab or freestyle cab. Plus great deals on V6 petrol Bravos. This is the sign you've been waiting for. The Mazda Bravo diesel run-out. For huge savings, see your Mazda dealer now.
The Glenelg-Hopkins region contains 44% of Victoria's wetlands and almost 5,000 kilometres of waterways.
80% of the region has been developed for agriculture. The Glenelg-Hopkins CMA, together with the community, has undertaken over 2,000 local projects over the past 7 years, helping to improve our land and water resources.
So much has been done, but there's still so much more to do. Glenelg-Hopkins CMA, protecting our future naturally for future generations.
Toyota, we've seen some incredible goals in 2006. Well, here's the master. Contenders for Toyota Goal of the Year include Patrick Bowden's boundary line blinder.
He goes with the outside of the boot and kicks a freakish goal.
Aaron Davies' Super Soccer goal will be hard to beat.
Hasn't been able to have a mark on this. Davies, surely not. Surely not.
Whilst Eddie Betts thrilled the G with this beauty. Toyota, good for footy.
We are up to round 13 in the voting for the Brownlow medal for 2006. Believe it or not, it is 20 years since a man called Diesel won the first of his 2 Brownlow medals, and he shared it with a bloke called Dipper.
No, I took a bit of a backward seat. Well, that suited me fine. You know, I was pretty shy and that sort of thing, but no, Robert handled himself well and he took over as usual. And, but it's good. You know, Dipper and I have a great affiliation and we always catch up, you know, at functions and stuff like that. It's just a bit of a special night together and, you know, you're always good mates.
Thought he could have won a third, actually. Anyway, let's get on with round 13. The awesome performance at Subi by the Bulldogs was the highlight. Rodney Eade declared the 9-point win over the Eagles, his best home and away win ever. And you guessed it, Scotty West had 40 touches.
St Kilda thumped Hawthorn. Nick Revolt dominant, 14 marks, 4 goals. And after a promising start, the Hawks had now lost 7 out of 8 and seem to have completely lost their way.
It wasn't hard to see who'd been staying up late watching the World Cup action in Germany. Aaron Davies showing great imagination.
Soccer's on the ground, I think it's home! Oh, unbelievable! And the Tigers ruled in the wet as they threw everything at the Magpies.
Aerial display was brilliant. Look at this!
Speaking of the Magpies, Ben Johnson only 6 off the pace. He had 29 disposals and 12 marks, although they did lose to the Tigers.
Chris Judd was back from injury, but not necessarily in the votes. 22 disposals in the Eagles' loss to the Western Bulldogs in round 13.
Round 13. Kangaroos versus Essendon. Kangaroos V. Harvey, 1 vote. Kangaroos N. Thompson, 2 votes. Essendon V. Stanton, 3 votes. Brisbane Lions versus Carlton. Brisbane Lions L. Power, 1 vote. Carlton L. Blackwell, 2 votes. Brisbane Lions S. Black, 3 votes. St Kilda versus Hawthorn. St Kilda M. Hudson, 1 vote. St Kilda N. Revolt, 2 votes. St Kilda R. Harvey, 3 votes. Melbourne versus Port Adelaide. Port Adelaide S. Burgoyne, 1 vote. Melbourne D. Neitz, 2 votes. Melbourne C. Bruce, 3 votes. Richmond versus Collingwood. Richmond A. Callaway, 1 vote. Richmond S. Tuck, 2 votes. Richmond P. Bowden, 3 votes. Adelaide versus Geelong. Adelaide B. Burton, 1 vote. Adelaide R. Biglands, 2 votes. Adelaide M. Matner, 3 votes. Sydney versus Fremantle. Fremantle J. Carr, 1 vote. Sydney M. O'Loughlin, 2 votes. Sydney A. Schneider, 3 votes. West Coast versus Western Bulldogs. Western Bulldogs N. Eagleton, 1 vote. Western Bulldogs S. West, 2 votes. Western Bulldogs D. Cross, 3 votes.
Good order.
Oh, there must have been something in the air in round 14 as a couple of players got a bit punchy. Nathan Love and Murray let one rip on Matthew Carr, while the G, Daniel Kerr, left Sam Mitchell with tears in his eyes.
Taken, boys. This was a cheap shot.
Chris Judd was the star in a torrid encounter with the Hawks. Lance Franklin tested out last year's Brownlow winner, but quickly discovered that if you take on one of the Eagles, you take on all of them.
Franklin. Get up, buddy, Franklin, and take this sprint.
In Sydney, the Crows touched up the reigning premiers. That man, Simon Goodwin, who has 6 votes tonight, turned in another powerful display. Graham Johncock was also good, although his 2 goals may have gone to his head.
And in Brisbane, all the years of pressure at fullback finally told on Mal Michael as he rammed one home for the opposition. While it seemed that Aaron Davey now actually believed he was playing another code. Hasn't been able to have a mark on this. Davey, surely not! Surely not! He has done it again!
Well, Matthew Pavlich not too far away. The Dockers get on their roll from here. 18 disposals, 13 marks and 4 goals in their win over the Bombers.
Simon Goodwin, brilliant but inconspicuous. He's going to have to be Kiwi to do it from here, but he had 27 disposals in a great running game against Sydney. It might be too little too late. It's round 14.
Round 14. Carlton versus Geelong. Geelong, C. Mooney, 1 vote. Geelong, C. Ling, 2 votes. Geelong, S. King, 3 votes. Melbourne versus Brisbane. Brisbane, M. Voss, 1 vote. Melbourne, B. Green, 2 votes. Brisbane, D. Bradshaw, 3 votes. Port Adelaide versus Richmond. Port Adelaide, K. Corns, 1 vote. Richmond, D. Polo, 2 votes. Richmond, T. Simmons, 3 votes. St Kilda versus Collingwood. Collingwood, N. Buckley, 1 vote. St Kilda, L. Ball, 2 votes. St Kilda, B. Goddard, 3 votes. Sydney versus Adelaide. Adelaide, R. Biglands, 1 vote. Adelaide, M. Rashudo, 2 votes. Adelaide, G. Johncock, 3 votes. Fremantle versus Essendon. Fremantle, J. Longmuir, 1 vote. Fremantle, M. Pavlich, 2 votes. Fremantle, S. McManus, 3 votes. Western Bulldogs versus Kangaroos. Western Bulldogs, M. Robbins, 1 vote. Kangaroos, N. Thompson, 2 votes. Western Bulldogs, R. Griffin, 3 votes. Hawthorn versus West Coast. Hawthorn, S. Mitchell, 1 vote. West Coast, C. Judd, 2 votes. West Coast, Hugh Lynch, 3 votes.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, before we look at the leaderboard, can I congratulate from the St Kilda Football Club Robert Harvey with the votes he got in round 13. Robert now becomes only the 3rd man in football history to surpass 200 Brownlow medal votes, just behind Gary Dempsey and Lee Matthews. Well done, Robert. And hopefully there's more to come in season 2007. Let's have a look at the leaderboard now. After 14 completed rounds, and Scott West is still the leader, but Chris Judd is coming again. West has got 19, Judd has got 15, Jonathan Brown 13, along with Nathan Thompson, who's doing really well, and Adam Goods rounds out the top 5 with a dozen. Also on 12, Brendan Lade, Daniel Kerr, Simon Black is on 11, along with Geelong's Paul Chapman, and another Bulldog, Brad Johnson. So the leader of the Brownlow medal after round 14 from the Bulldogs, it's still Scott West.
Scott West Celeste doing a wonderful job. But let's look at the scorecard for the 2002 Brownlow medal winner, Simon Black, and he's right on expectations. We predicted 11, he's got 11, and just one game in round 17 weeks where we expect him to poll votes. But Daniel Kerr, what a season.
Well, he's polling plenty of votes. We predicted 6 to this stage. He's got 12. He cannot win the Brownlow medal because he was suspended in round 14. Runner-up last year in the Brownlow medal to Ben Cousins.
And what a day it'll be this Saturday, Grand Final Day 2006. You'll see it all on Network 10.
It's the biggest day on the football calendar, and there's only one place you'll see it all from start to finish, and that's here on your home of the AFL Final Series, Network 10. Kick the day off with the festivities at the official Grand Final breakfast. From there, we're off to the G to soak up the atmosphere. Review the year with the game's biggest names. Preview the big one, and then, with the stage set, the 2006 AFL Grand Final, here on your Premiership Network.
Guess what? I got through.
The selection process was the least of their concerns.
These colours, guys, look like you've been on acid or something.
What will happen when these 25 troubled teams head into the kitchen?
I would have given you that 29 seconds and you would have been dead.
7:30 Thursday. Imagine trying to become a chef while getting off heroin.
They've all got baggage.
She's got the whole jumbo.
Find out why the critics call this life-affirming TV.
Jamie's Kitchen Australia, 7:30 Thursday.
We'd had enough of our friends telling us things about Macca's food that were wrong, so we went and found out the facts for ourselves.
And now you can find out more for yourself on our website, makeupyourownmind.com.au.
The Sanyong Stavic, a luxurious people mover, an all-diesel engine, a truckload of space. Now from just $34,990, only from Peter Stevens Sanyong.
For Start's first time, every time reliability. For the world's most powerful small engine technology. For superior durability. Upgrade to Advanced Sport Technology lawnmowers. Only from Honda.
If you wanted to see every caravan at World of Caravans in just one day, you'd have to be very fit. First, choose where to start. At Bayswater Jayco, Canterbury Caravans, Mackenzie Caravans or Oasis Caravans, and then you'll have to run all day long. With over 600 caravans on site and you wanted to see every caravan, you're looking at a caravan a minute. That's a lot of caravans. For the most choice and the most caravans and motorhomes, see World of Caravans at 140 Canterbury Road, Bayswater.
Jump into family fun this summer with Rebel Sport Ballarat. Bounce away with this 14-foot round trampoline and net enclosure for just $695. For the biggest range in trampolines and lowest prices guaranteed. It's got to be Rebel Sport Ballarat. Terms and conditions apply. See in-store for details. Eases the squeeze with a breakthrough offer. No deposit, no interest until 2010. That's 40 months to pay off the new fridge, washer, plasma or home theatre package. 40 months interest-free on your new lounge or dining suite, bedroom update or outdoor setting. 40 months to pay for the latest computer equipment, mobile technology or hot gaming package. No deposit, no interest until 2010. What an amazing offer, but hurry, limited time only, now at Harvey Norman. Gaucho insecticide-treated seed is the star performer that's quicker out of the ground, so you can get your stock to pasture faster. Gaucho, best on ground.
Well, 10 years ago, two young men of the game stood here, centre stage, sharing the 1996 Brownlow medal. One was 23 years old, the other only 21. We knew they were good, but at that stage, just not how good. They've gone on to become champions of the game.
Between them, they have amassed 525 games, a Norm Smith medal, 11 All-Australian titles, 9 best and fairests, 5 premierships, and 18 years as captains of their respective teams. As their spectacular careers draw to a close, let's acknowledge Essendon's James Hird and Brisbane's Michael Voss.
They started their careers in the same season. They emerged as rare talents simultaneously. Young stars, they became true leaders of great teams. They have both enjoyed the game's greatest gift. And on this night, together, they share an anniversary.
James Hird and Michael Voss, the joint winners of the 1996 Brownlow medal.
For on this night a decade ago, they were inseparable as the game searched for that season's champion player. What wonderful careers they have forged on the game's biggest stages. With expectations forever high, they have breathed rarefied air together, where one's art has featured might and power. The others wielded a more subtle sword. Both have carved unforgettable careers. They have both known the game's crueler hand too.
It's a sorry side, isn't it?
Each has been exposed to the game's physical and emotional darker side, but each has refused to yield. And as great as their deeds on the field have been, it has been their contribution to the game's greater good that stands them apart. We hear so much about our need for standard bearers and role models. Each is that. As a man, as a teammate, to the game, and most importantly, to their families. It's 10 years since they stood alongside one another on Brownlow night. 10 years later, luminous still in their veteran years, we remember. Rejoice in how they continue to shine and rise together to salute two of the game's all-time greats.
And joining the two champs on stage tonight, a 5-year-old Thomas Hird and 6-year-old Casey Voss, ladies and gentlemen. Well, James, we'll start with you, mate. Just looking back 10 years ago, we've got to mention it. The tartan number just came up a treat.
I actually meant to bring it, but in all the excitement, I forgot, unfortunately.
And a nice little cut under the eye, too, as we have a look at the old tartan vest. A nice little... That was courtesy of Andrew Dunkley, wasn't it?
Yeah, Andrew Dunkley. Tanya and I had a bit of blue that night, and yeah, it all happened. But yeah, Dunks gave me one during the game and actually got off, surprisingly.
Michael, you were only 21 years of age back then. Did you realise the dynasty you're about to preside over as skipper of the Brisbane Lions?
Oh, absolutely not. You know, if you sort of said at that time that we were able to do what we did at the end, would have been absolutely amazing. So, yeah, I'll take it, that's for sure.
Who's got their mobile on?
Tom?
Yeah, I have.
Is your mobile on? Where is it? You're a cheeky man.
I've got it in my eyeballs.
In your eyeballs? Oh, my goodness. Hey, Simon, do you reckon your dad's a good player?
Yes.
What would you give him out of 10 as a player?
I don't know.
Does he ever get grumpy?
Yes.
And what does he say? Does he get grumpy when he loses?
No.
He's just grumpy generally?
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, Casey, what about your dad? Do you know your dad's a famous footballer? Do you know that your dad's very, very famous? He's won 3 premierships. Is he your favourite player?
Yes.
What would you give your daddy as a footballer out of 10? 10? 10? What about your favourite players? Who's your favourite players?
Who's your favourite players, mate?
Big Lynch.
Big Lynch from West Coast. And Casey, who else is your favourite player?
Chris Judd.
Chris Judd. Thomas, what about you? Who are your favourite players, Thomas?
Chris Judd and Dean Cox.
Well, we might as well call it quits now. James, you boys are sensational. You've decided to go on. Was it a hard decision in the end? What do you hope to get out of next year?
Oh, look, I'd love to make the finals and have a successful year. I mean, it's part of playing footy is playing with a great team, and unfortunately, this year we didn't play with a great team. You know, we finished 15th, so I want to play with a team that can make the finals and enjoy our footy and have some success. Should the bloke next to me, should he play on? Oh, definitely, yeah. Vossi is an absolute champ, and, you know, he's as good as I've seen play footy, and I hope he plays on and I can play against him one more time. Michael, you knew this question was coming.
Yeah, mate.
The time is getting close. You've got to make a decision. When do you think you might make a decision?
Probably, well, hopefully probably next week. And I'd like to be able to... We've got a meeting next week on Friday, and I'd like to be able to tell the boys then what I'm doing. A lot of people ask me the question, but they're the people that deserve to know first. So I'll use that time to be able to hopefully tell them.
Now, you just stand back.
Yeah.
Hey, Casey, do you want to tell me a secret? Is Daddy going to play next year? Do you think Daddy's going to play?
Yes.
He is? Lee Matthews is a happy man. We thought it apt on this night, 10 years since your Brownlow medal victory. Gentlemen, you've been ornaments to the game, both on and off the field. Congratulations. Whatever you do, Michael, you've had a brilliant career. Thanks, Cordes. Good on you, Casey. Great to have you on stage, mate. Is that good? And James Hurtis, great to see you going on, James, and well done, Thomas, for your time. Ladies and gentlemen, the Vosses and the Herds. Back with round 15 in a moment.
Tuesday, Marge has everything under control for her very important dinner party.
I swallowed a chicken bone.
That is, everything excluding Homer.
Did you just swallow another bone?
Same one.
The Simpsons at 7:30.
And then at 8 o'clock...
Bite my glorious golden ass!
Two benders, that can only mean one thing.
What do you say we just hit a strip joint? Oh, I love me!
Double the laugh on Futurama following The Simpsons, Tuesday.
What do you do in the 9th month for 9 days? Well, if you Focus on Furniture, you have a 999 sale. For 9 days at Focus on Furniture, you'll get this brand new to Focus Aztec package for $9.99. Finished in superb rust-on mountain ash, this package is only $9.99. Dine in style and have enough room for friends and family. This suite is, you guessed it, $9.99. The Bento bedroom suite will add class to any bedroom. And for 9 days, it's just $9.99. Turning your frown upside down, Focus on Furniture's $9.99 sale for 9 days only, so hurry.
The Magnificent Seven. It's the sub of the day. A different regular Subway 6-inch sub for every day of the week at just $3.50. The sub of the day. Magnificent value. Subway. Eat fresh.
So, you're looking for a little bit of extra space? Maybe a garage, machinery shed, hay shed, or a Ranbuild stable complex. With over 55 years experience in Australia and overseas, Ranbuild has got you covered. They're steel tough, can handle the wet, fire resistant, and termites don't stand a chance. Buy a Ranbuild shed today and receive bonus Ryobi drills plus a stack of tools. Just what you need to put up your shed. Ranbuild. Better sheds, bigger choice.
Hi, Mr. O'Brien. Didn't I check that for you last week?
I thought that you could take another look.
Looks fine to me.
Thanks, Julie.
How's Mrs. O'Brien?
Good, thanks.
Pick up a new still blower from $379.
For Start's first time, every time reliability. For the world's most powerful small engine technology. For no oil and fuel mixing. Upgrade to Advanced 4 technology brush cutters. Only from Honda.
Like the four corners of the world, there's 4 different businesses at World of Caravans. Bayswater Jayco, Canterbury Caravans, Mackenzie Caravans or Oasis Caravans. There's 9 different planets and 9 different brands of caravans at World of Caravans. But even bigger than that, World of Caravans has 600 different caravans and motorhomes on show. Now that's huge. If you want choice, go to the place with the largest range. World of Caravans, 140 Canterbury Road, Bayswater.
Just the battery or something more? I can sort out your electrical problems. But where do you find me?
VACC.com.au. Find out what makes the new Bond Ultimate battery so much better than the rest. Calcium, added silver, thick plate grid, intercell sealing rings, thicker plates and quicker recharge. The Bond Ultimate battery. Any comparison is chalk and cheese.
Welcome back to the Brownlow medal count for 2006. Let's recap the leaderboard after 14 completed rounds, and it's Scott West from the Western Bulldogs out on top with 19 votes. Chris Juddiston second spot with 15. Jonathan Brown and Nathan Thompson both with 13. Adam Goods rounds out the top 5 with a dozen. Also with 12, Brendan Lade, Daniel Kerr and Simon Black, Paul Chapman and Brad Johnson have 11 votes apiece. As we go to round 15, another dual winner, Peter Moore, has a problem with what he's going to do with his Brownlows.
I was going to leave them to my 2 children, but now that I've got 4 children, I'm a bit perplexed as to what I'm going to do with them now, but they're all lining up to get them, and you know, I'll keep them in my family, and they're just a great thing to have.
Round 15 produced some thrilling finishes, including another Sydney West Coast classic. This time the Eagles turned to win by a whisker. Tom and Casey's mate, Chris Judd, the leading possession getter.
On the back of Nick Revolt's 23 disposals and 15 marks, the Saints broke the Bombers' hearts with a 3-point win in the wet.
And after a good old-fashioned rev from Lethal, the class of Boss and Ackermanis got the Lions home by a point over the Roos. It was to be the last of Acker's 248 games for Brisbane, we think.
Robbo was on fire at the G against the Tigers, his trademark speckies showing the usual mix of skill and daring. But this fan, I reckon, showed even more daring by testing Nathan Carroll's patience.
Brave or stupid, Simon Goodwin kept getting the ball, can't buy a vote. 38 touches, Brett Burton 7 goals, too much for Hawthorn at Amy.
And Jet Farmer returned to his old stamping ground against the Pies. He kicked 6 to the best. As we continue to check our top pollers, Scotty West in this round, 26 disposals, 4 marks and a goal in the win over Carlton, Tim.
You know, Adam Goods had only ever polled 4 best on grounds in 7 seasons in the Brownlow, including his Brownlow year. He already has 4 tonight, and he got 22 disposals and 10 marks against West Coast in round 15.
Round 15, Richmond versus Melbourne. Richmond, J. Bowden, 1 vote. Melbourne, S. Godfrey, 2 votes. Melbourne, R. Robertson, 3 votes. Essendon versus St Kilda. Essendon, A. Lovett, 1 vote. Essendon, J. Johnson, 2 votes. Essendon, B. Stanton, 3 votes. Adelaide versus Hawthorn. Adelaide, M. Matner, 1 vote. Adelaide, A. McLeod, 2 votes. Adelaide, B. Burton, 3 votes. Kangaroos versus Brisbane Lions. Brisbane, J. Drummond, 1 vote. Kangaroos, D. Petrie, 2 votes. Brisbane, M. Voss, 3 votes. Geelong versus Port Adelaide. Geelong, J. Bartel, 1 vote. Geelong, M. Stokes, 2 votes. Port Adelaide, S. Burgoyne, 3 votes. Collingwood versus Fremantle. Fremantle, J. Carr, 1 vote. Fremantle, J. Farmer, 2 votes. Fremantle, M. Pavlich, 3 votes. Carlton versus Western Bulldogs. Carlton, H. Scotland, 1 vote. Western Bulldogs, F. Ray, 2 votes. Western Bulldogs, B. Johnson, 3 votes. West Coast versus Sydney. West Coast, D. Wirrapunda, 1 vote. Sydney, A. Goods, 2 votes. West Coast, C. Judd, 3 votes.
Dubbed the Bryce Gibbs Cup, cellar dwellers Carlton and Essendon battled it out, trying all kinds of moves to get off the ball.
Yes, the old body slam. World Championship Wrestling, you're guilty.
At the end, a worthy wooden spooner still hadn't been established. It was a draw, which gave Dennis Pagan a chance to expand on the old line about dancing with your sister.
Have you got a sister? Yes, I do. Okay, go home tonight and put Johnny Ray on and have a bit of a waltz around and see how it feels.
Just walking in the rain.
Johnny Ray would be a favourite of yours, Tim, wouldn't he? Anyway, they were getting nice and close at Subi as well as the Dockers got over the Demons. And the Crows celebrated Roos milestone with a big win over the Roos.
At Telstra Dome, Daniel Kerr flew high. But the Eagles weren't able to maintain those lofty heights as the Magpies prospered, despite Anthony Rocker's unique way of getting a point across.
That is just stupid, Anthony.
Silly from Rocker.
It is immature.
Surprising to hear Wolsey critical. Even he must have felt sorry for Daniel Motlop, who couldn't live out the old backyard footy dream against the Saints in Tassie.
He just has to slot it between the trees. And he has poked at it and missed it.
Well, we saw Daniel Kerr flying high in round 16. Will he become the third ineligible player to win the count? 30 disposals in the loss to Collingwood.
Or might Travis Johnston just edge his way into it? He's on 11 votes now, 29 disposals in the Demons' loss to Fremantle in round 16.
Round 16, Essendon versus Carlton. Essendon, S. Lucas, 1 vote. Carlton, K. Simpson, 2 votes. Carlton, H. Scotland, 3 votes. Brisbane versus Hawthorn. Hawthorn, C. Brown, 1 vote. Brisbane, J. Sherman, 2 votes. Brisbane, Al Power, 3 votes. Fremantle versus Melbourne. Fremantle, A. Sandilands, 1 vote. Melbourne, N. Carroll, 2 votes. Fremantle, B. Peake, 3 votes. St Kilda versus Port Adelaide. Port Adelaide, B. Lade, 1 vote. Port Adelaide, S. Burgoyne, 2 votes. St Kilda, J. Graham, 3 votes. Adelaide versus Kangaroos. Adelaide, M. Risciuto, 1 vote. Adelaide, A. McLeod, 2 votes. Adelaide, S. Goodwin, 3 votes. Sydney versus Richmond. Sydney, H. Grundy, 1 vote. Sydney, Al Roberts-Thompson, 2 votes. Sydney, M. O'Loughlin, 3 votes. Collingwood versus West Coast Eagles. Collingwood, C. Tarrant, 1 vote. Collingwood, D. Swan, 2 votes. West Coast, D. Kerr, 3 votes. Geelong versus Western Bulldogs. Geelong, C. Enright, 1 vote. Western Bulldogs, B. Johnson, 2 votes. Geelong, J. Corey, 3 votes.
Bomber fans rediscovered the taste of victory in round 17, just their second win of the year. Brisbane may have been a bitter rival recently, but David Hill's sportsmanship provided one of the season's stirring images.
If you have a close look at the St Kilda banner, they're always confident of beating Richmond. And that confidence wasn't misplaced. Fraser Gehrig's 10-goal haul helping hand the Tigers their third 100-point loss of the year.
West Coast brought the high-flying Crows back to earth. The all-star midfield, Judd, Kerr and Cousins, all supreme. While up forward, Ashley Hansen was still getting his head around it all.
Our pre-count favourite Adam Goods is 5 off the pace. He was in full flight with 24 touches and 8 marks. The Swans were looking scary once again. Just ask Kane Corns. Boom.
And a reversal of roles for mental hope Cameron Bruce. His stopping job on Brad Johnson, crucial in the D's win over the Dogs.
Again, we have a look at our leaders, and Scotty West, who leads by 127 disposals in their loss to Melbourne.
And the ineligible Daniel Kerr storming into it, 34 disposals, the star of the star midfield in round 17.
Round 17. Collingwood versus Hawthorn. Collingwood, T. Cloak, 1 vote. Collingwood, A. Didak, 2 votes. Collingwood, J. Clement, 3 votes. St Kilda versus Richmond. St Kilda, L. Montagna, 1 vote. St Kilda, J. Graham, 2 votes. St Kilda, F. Gehrig, 3 votes. Essendon versus Brisbane. Essendon, D. Hill, 1 vote. Essendon, S. Lucas, 2 votes. Essendon, J. Hurd, 3 votes. Kangaroos versus Geelong. Kangaroos, B. Harvey, 1 vote. Kangaroos, J. Sinclair, 2 votes. Kangaroos, D. Petrie, 3 votes. Carlton versus Fremantle. Fremantle, M. Pavlich, 1 vote. Carlton, A. Walker, 2 votes. Fremantle, R. Murphy, 3 votes. Port Adelaide versus Sydney. Port Adelaide, D. Pearce, 1 vote. Sydney, A. Goods, 2 votes. Sydney, D. Jolly, 3 votes. West Coast versus Adelaide. West Coast, M. Braun, 1 vote. West Coast, D. Kerr, 2 votes. West Coast, B. Cousins, 3 votes. Melbourne versus Western Bulldogs. Western Bulldogs, D. Cross, 1 vote. Melbourne, A. Uze, 2 votes. Melbourne, B. McLean, 3 votes.
17 rounds down, and it is a tight tussle at the top. Thank you, Travis Johnston. It is a tight tussle at the top with all the favourites. Scott West is the leader with 19. Chris Judd has 18. Kerr is ineligible, he has 17. Adam Goods has got 16 along with another Bulldog in Brad Johnson. Matthew Pavlich doing well, has got 15. Jonathan Brown stuck on 13. Brendan Lade also on 13, along with Nathan Thompson, and Sean Burgoyne has 12. He rounds out the top 10. Time now to speak with one of the favourites. He's in front at the moment, but only just. Scott West from the Western Bulldogs. Welcome. How's it going, Scotty?
Yeah, not too bad, thanks.
Well, you've been here before, mate. How do you think you're looking at this stage of the count?
Yeah, well, it's always, nice to be in front, but, getting a little nerve-wracking with 5 rounds to go. So we'll see what happens from here.
I'm going to say, you're an old stager. Are you getting nervous?
Thanks for the old bit.
But, sorry, mate.
Yeah, I guess you do get a little bit nervous. It's, that time of the count where, you know, the winner will be announced in 5 rounds' time. So I guess once you're up at the leaderboard, it's, you know, it is nerve-wracking.
Scott, we wish you well.
Thanks, mate.
Scott West is the leader after 17 rounds of the Brownlow for 2006.
Yeah, Scott West with a slender lead. But let's take a look at the scorecard of the Western Bulldog captain, Brad Johnson, and he has polled 16 votes, exactly as we expected, Rob. We expect him to poll only in round 22, so still a slight chance.
And let's have a look at Simon Goodwin, one of the favourites for the Brownlow medal this year. After round 17, we predicted 18 votes. He's only got 9. In fact, he's only voted 10 in any one season. So that's a little bit disappointing for Simon.
It's getting tense, just 5 rounds to go in the 2006 Brownlow medal.
Returning soon to 10.
You have something on your shoulder.
Oh, it's the mole. It's my trademark.
He's everyone's favourite